Okay, Hannah, so I thought that the best way to respond to your question would be by recording a quick video. And by quick, I have no idea if it actually be quick or not, but we'll give it a shot. So let's just kind of look at the information that we had. What an action is. An action is just simply a step-by-step process that while you're doing in Photoshop, you're also asking Photoshop to record those steps. And then those steps can then be replayed on an additional photograph. Now, I think the trick that you might be having, and let's see here, let's see, I think I have it in here. There we go. This information here. The trick here is that you cannot save a particular action. You have to save what are called action sets, and this is what you're supposed to be turning into me. So let me go ahead and I'll show you. I'll create an action, show you why you might want to create an action, and then I'll save the action out, and then I'll load that action back in so you can see what that process actually looks like. So here are some photos that my wife took on a trip to a ranch in well, outside of Cody. And she had some photos here that were kind of interesting that I might want to send around to some folks. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these photos up, and she took them from a moving car, so they may be blurry, and show you how we can use this. The problem with these photos is that they're huge. They're very difficult to email because of the size of them. These were taken with a Canon 7D, and if you look at the image size, I mean, it's just a lot of information. So even when it's in JPEG format, of course, it is JPEG format now, but it's decompressed, so the information is much larger. But even in a JPEG format, that's going to be a very large file. So I may want to create an action so that I can change the file size on many of these, maybe perform an automatic color adjustment, and then close the file for me. Okay, so let's see how that we would do that. Actions. My actions panel isn't actually up. We can get our actions panel by going Window, Actions, and I'm going to create a new set. These folders are what represent a set. Like I said, you can't save an action. It's grayed out because it's not an option, but you can save a set. Okay, so I'm going to create a new set. I'll just call it J's set, and then I'll go ahead and create a new action, and that's this little new page button down here, the Adobe's universal make something new button, and I'll call this resize for email, because it just doesn't need to be quite as large. So I'm going to press record. My little red button for the record, indicating the record, is depressed, and now I can do what I'd like to do. So I'll go Control L on my keyboard to get my levels, and I'll just click Auto, and it'll probably be okay. It's not too bad. Looks alright. And now you can see here it says under Resize for Email, Levels. So that's actually been recorded. Now I'm going to change the size. I'm going to go to Image, Image Size, and it's already set to 72. I'm going to, let me see, I'm going to crank this down to, it doesn't need to be 72 inches wide. Let's make it 10 inches wide. Okay, now this won't necessarily work for every single photograph because every photograph is going to have different dimensions. But if I'm working with a particular set of photographs that I know that they're all going to be landscape and they're all going to be the same resolution, that'll work just fine for me. And this is obviously going to take from 51 to 1 megabyte essentially. So pretty significant savings in file size. So I'll just go ahead and click OK, and now image size is changed, and there's the photo, and you can see that it's actually still acceptable visual acuity there. And then I'm going to tell it I want to save as. I'm going to save it out because I don't want to save over my original, and for this the purposes of this, I'm just going to save it to the desktop. That's fine with me. And maybe I'll actually make it TIFF. Okay, and then save and OK, and then I'll close. Okay, so now I'm going to press stop, and you can see levels. If I go into there, it says auto, image size, and then it says width 10, save as TIFF, and then in, and it has the path location. If I expand that, you'll actually be able to say it says desktop. So all that information is saved as part of the action. And then close, there's nothing really to expand and show you there. Now, on this photograph, if I want to do this again, all I have to do is click and press play. And it simply went through all the steps and closed it. It was that fast. Now if I go to my desktop, get rid of that, yes, you can see that I have these two images now on my desktop. And let's see what the file size is. That's an acceptable file size, and it's a TIFF file format. So I can now share that with people without worrying about gumming up their inbox. Now, of course, the beautiful part of this is that you saw how quickly that worked. If I had 10 images, I could do that really quickly. We can also use what are called droplets and batch processing to process a number of photos that way, and it just does all the work for you. You tell it to do it to 50 photos, and then you go take a break, and the computer does all the work for you. You want to work smart, not hard, although it is okay to work smart and hard. Now, how do you save it? Again, if I try to save this, the save actions is grayed out because I'm actually selecting the action. If I click the set, then I can save the set out. I'm just going to save it on the desktop again. By default, it'll have the folder name, so J's set, and I might get rid of that apostrophe because that might cause problems later. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that space as well, just because I'm neurotic about that stuff. And press save. You saw it said ATN, hopefully. And now, if I go in here and look, there we go. It says actions, J's set. Alright, so now I can actually get rid of that action set, and if I wanted to then get it back later, or if I wanted to share that, give it to someone else, if they wanted to load it, they could go to the flyout menu and then load actions, go to the desktop, and there's the set. Click on it, load, and there we go. The set's back. And that's really as simple as it gets there. I mean, it's pretty easy, I really think. And I do use actions quite heavily. I mean, anything that we can automate and save our time with, I always tell people you make more money pushing the shutter trigger on the camera than you do clicking the mouse button. So anything that you can do to save yourself time when you're sitting at the computer is good. Make the software work for you. Use automation tools. And that is a good one for us to use. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions.